Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The month of Ramadan or fasting is often understood by people as just a matter of devotion and worship, reciting the Quran as much as possible, listening to Quran in Taraweeh, trying to do acts of charity. But at the same time, this is the month in which several historic events took place. One among those was the conquest of Sindh, in which on 10th of Ramadan, the young commander of Muslim army, Ibn Qasim, landed in this area. If we go by the present standards of adulthood, then he would not have qualified to get a driving license or cast a vote. But a person of hardly 17 years becomes one of those pioneers who travels a long distance, enters a strange land, and not only conquers it militarily, but conquers hearts of people. Those who were living in Sindh under an oppressive regime, where the custom of the day was that human beings are divided in 4 distinct categories, 4 colors, 4 levels. The lightest color or varna is that of Brahmins. Then the Kshatriyas, the soldiers. Then the Vaishyas or the merchants. And last, and the downtrodden Shudras, who are supposed to serve all 3 and get no credit for that. It is their fate to serve only. In that kind of land, a person comes who creates an environment of fairness, equality of mankind, liberation from these bonds of ethnicity, race and color. Consequently, the majority of people at that time in this area, following Hinduism, took Ibn Qasim as a hero and as a divine person, as their god. And they tried to make even statues of Ibn Qasim to worship. That tells us very clearly how deep impact works of a religion and culture. At the same time, it tells us that if Ibn Qasim was such a liberator, he cannot be an intruder. He cannot be a person who came for expansionism, but he has to be a person who came for liberation of oppressed from this society based on class and based on superiority of a few over the majority. Therefore, his coming to this part of the world was essentially a beginning of new era. This provided the gateway of Islam to North as well as South and Central Asia. According to historical reports, we find that during Ibn Qasim's time, the expansion of Muslim rule even went up to Kashmir and beyond that. And in all that, the fundamental role was of Ibn Qasim's presence as a liberator and not as an intruder. The conquest of this area was not a matter of extending a territory, but a matter of responding to the call of oppressed. Historical records tell us that Ibn Qasim came simply to get those persons released who were taken as bonded persons by ruler of this area known as Dahir. Families of a good number of Muslim merchants who were living in Maldives in south of India were traveling back to their homeland, and on their way around this city, this port city of Deval, their ships were attacked, they were taken as captives. and Ibn Qasim was sent by the governor of Iraq, Hajjaj ibn Yusuf, simply to liberate these persons who were taken by the rulers of this area unjustly, unjustifiably as their slaves. This simply means that the whole expedition was for a noble purpose. It also tells us that this noble purpose of Ibn Qasim further got reflected in consequences which had historical impact. This land, because of Ibn Qasim, became a land of knowledge, and for centuries Sindh played a role of producing scholars and thinkers. One of the teachers of Shah Waliullah of Delhi in Madinah Munawwara was from Sindh, Shaykh al-Hadith. And similarly we find that in the whole region there remained a tradition of book culture, and many of Muslim homes in Sindh had elaborate, beautiful libraries where there were manuscripts and rare books available for people to study. One small city known as Thatta was essentially a city where there were levels, and each level had schools, universities and madaris and libraries. The whole culture of the region was influenced by this coming of Ibn Qasim, and that's why Sindh has been called as Babul Islam. This event in Ramadan reminds people of the subcontinent how a young person with commitment, enthusiasm can change the fate of whole region. Today, Pakistan has over 67% youth, young people. If they have proper understanding of heroes like Ibn Qasim, if they look at him as a role model, they can bring remarkable change in this land and at global level. Muslim intelligentsia, Muslim youth, Muslim HR is recognized globally. And therefore, this is the month in which we need to refresh our memory of history, we need to refresh our understanding of society, we need to refresh our approach towards life, and ultimately learn from these experiences how we can improve quality of life, how we can get rid of hero worship, but learn from role model of persons like Ibn Qasim, who opened a new era and a new chapter in history in this region. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make our youth understand and follow this model and bring change in their own lives and society in the most appropriate manner. Wa khadam rabbil alamin.